Man was released from prison after 11 years for a murder he did not do.
New here at 4:30, exonerated. A Chicago man is now free after spending 11 years behind bars for a murder that records show there is no way he could have committed.
Christian Farr has more now on Anthony Robinson's road to freedom and what's next.
It feels good. It just, it still don't feel real.
Anthony Robinson spent 11 years in prison for a murder that the now 31-year-old could not have committed. And it was this X-ray that led to his release from Stateville Correctional Center on Monday.
It felt good to hug my sister, hug all my family members.
In 2013, at the age of 20 years old, Robinson was sentenced to 55 years in prison by a judge for murdering Kelvin Jemison, a crime that had been captured on security video. Prosecutors told the judge that Robinson had been spotted on that same video running from the crime scene. But from the beginning, Robinson told police, the judge, and even his own attorney that a previous shooting injured his leg and foot, which made it impossible for him to run from anything.
When the judge found me guilty, I just went back in the bullpen and told my lawyer, you should have told him my leg was broke. He probably never found me guilty. He said, oh, well, we're just going to fight the appeal. And it's been 10 years since that.
When we got these X-rays, in our minds, there was no question that he couldn't have done it.
The Exoneration Project took on Robinson's case and tracked down his original X-rays, which had not been done during Robinson's original trial. Attorney Lauren Myerscough-Muller says an orthopedic surgeon reviewed them and said it would be impossible for Robinson to have committed this crime.
No one listened to Anthony, and I think that is part of what causes these wrongful convictions, is that no one listens to especially young men on the south and west sides.
I'm still trying to figure everything out, but it's about me. I'm just trying to be successful in my life now.
Robinson now is trying to move on with his life, and the next step in his case is to apply for a certificate of innocence, which his attorney says could take years to become a reality.
I think our justice system is just absolutely broken. 100% broken. Wait. So it's already bad enough that the man spent 11 years. It was a possibility that he was going to do his whole life, 55 years. 55 years in prison for a crime that he did not commit. It's bad enough that and then it could take years in order for him to be able to get a certificate of innocence. A certificate of innocence, it could take years. I bet you he had a jailhouse attorney. Hey, man, just plead guilty, bro. Hey, bro, but my leg was broke. There's no way that I could have ran and did all of that. So now it would take you 11 years just to be able to get out of jail. Man, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that's convicted of crimes or take a plea deal or are scared and all of this stuff, and they innocent and they wind up taking this deal. It's so many people that go to jail, suffer for things that they didn't do. And they be acting like we get like extra lives or something like that. That's crazy. That is so crazy. So, man, listen, I like to highlight the stories and bring visibility to different things on this platform. And there's so many people that's a part of the Innocence Project that if it wasn't for technology advancing to the way that it is today, you would never even see this, or you never hear from these people again, and they would just become a part of the system, even though they are innocent. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. This man is only 31 years old. He looked like he about 49. Probably lived a rough life, suffered in prison. God knows what didn't happen to him up in there. But thank God for his release, and now he's exonerated, and hopefully he can go on to live his life and be a little bit more successful. Also, check this out. So a gang member was sentenced in the death of Aamir Griffin. Check it out, y'all.
We begin tonight in Queens, where the family of Aamir Griffin faced his killer, Shawn Brown, in court.
Griffin was shot and killed by Brown in 2019 while playing basketball, a case of mistaken identity. Brown, a known gang member, mistook Griffin as a member of a rival gang and shot him multiple times.
Today, Brown tried to throw a twist in the case at the last minute. Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson is in Kew Gardens, Queens. Kimberly?
Well, Joe, Aamir Griffin never got to graduate from high school, go to college, or one day have a family. Yes, the 14-year-old was shot and killed in 2019. Shawn Brown pulled the trigger, and today, here in court, tried to pull off a legal maneuver, but the judge wasn't having it. A vicious individual who in 2019 was deeply involved in a bloody gang war in South Jamaica, Queens. Judge Kenneth Holder calling the area at the time a shooting gallery where Shawn Brown did his dirty work. It's where on October 26, Aamir Griffin was simply playing basketball when a bullet fired from Brown's gun meant for somebody else instead hit and killed the 14-year-old.
Took my soul from me. I haven't slept in 5 years.
Today was time for Brown to face the music under a plea deal, serve 30 years behind bars. But at the last second, his attorney announced her client wanted to withdraw the guilty plea he had just signed off on in March.
I thought me saying the plea deal was going to buy me more time to get another lawyer.
The judge called it a stalling tactic, pointing out the 21-year-old had been part of each and every step of this process for this and another separate case.
This is the second time that you have attempted to say, well, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to allow it.
The judge sentenced the reputed gang member to 3 decades in prison.
The only way we can get close to Aamir now is by visiting his grave, where we clean it off, place flowers, balloons, and shed tears over how much we missed it.
Before leaving the courtroom, the judge told Brown Aamir had the right to go to school, get a job, live, and die naturally without violence. Aamir's mom urged others not to get caught up in the violence.
You have way more things out there that you could be doing besides shooting someone. My son is no longer here. He was a basketball player, not a gang member.
And Judge Holder left Shawn Brown with something else to think about while behind bars, telling him even though he is part of this violent culture that hopefully maybe one day he will come to terms with what he has done and help others.
Now, that young man did not look like he was somebody that was remorseful. He looked like somebody that felt okay with doing 30 years. Honestly, imagine your kid goes out to play and they going to play basketball. It's some unknown gang war that's going on where people is fighting over something that don't even mean anything. And your son is gone in an instant because a bullet that was meant for a known gang member just so happened to hit him. It's always the good ones that die early. It's unfortunate. And then last but not least, this is an interesting one. And I thought that I'd throw a curveball at y'all this morning. This is an interesting one in that a principal is being charged because a teacher was shot by a 6-year-old. I'm not making this up. Hear me out again. The principal, the assistant principal, is being charged with 8 counts, felonies, because a teacher was shot with a gun by a 6-year-old. 6. A 6-year-old. Check it out.
It's believed to be the first case of its kind in the country. According to court documents, a special grand jury in Newport News, Virginia, has indicted Dr. Ebony Parker, the former assistant principal at Rich Neck Elementary School, on 8 counts of felony child abuse. The charges stemming from the 2023 school shooting involving a 6-year-old boy who opened fire on his teacher, Abigail Zwerner. Savannah interviewed Zwerner last year.
I just will never forget the look on his face that he gave me while he pointed the gun directly at me. That's something that I will never forget. It's changed me. It's changed my life.
In a $40 million civil lawsuit, Zwerner alleges that on the day of the shooting, Parker was warned at least 3 times that the child had a gun. And while the child's backpack was searched and no weapon found, Zwerner's lawyers allege Parker ignored the warnings.
A student out in the playground saw the boy take the gun out of his pocket. That student went to a teacher and said, I saw him with a gun. That teacher ran down to the assistant principal's office and said, I now have a student who has seen the gun. and that teacher requested permission to search his person. And the assistant principal said no.
What should Dr. Parker have done?
She should have called the police after multiple warnings that a child may have a gun.
NBC News' attempts to reach Dr. Parker and the school for comment were unsuccessful. Experts say this indictment is not only unprecedented, but represents a potential change in who can be held legally responsible in school shootings.
Cases like these are about sending a very clear message that school shootings are so horrible, we're willing to depart from the traditional rules and hold people responsible that really historically have not been held responsible before.
How do you even make sense of something like this?
You can't. You can't. I'm not sure when the shock will ever go away because of just how surreal it was.
I mean, Aaron, is there a chance beyond this that some others could also be charged at some point?
Craig, it is possible. Just last year, the prosecutors launched a grand jury to look into that very question, whether any, quote, acts or omissions by school officials warrant possible criminal charges. It's also worth noting that the 6-year-old boy's mother is now serving a 2-year sentence on state felony child neglect charge, and the boy is currently being cared for by his great-grandfather, the great-grandfather, telling our affiliate that he has switched schools, that his grades have improved, and that the little boy understands that this was a terrible, terrible mistake.
So many thoughts. So many thoughts. Man, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I don't know what the appropriate response to this whole thing is. 6 years old. Let's put this in perspective. First of all, the great-grandfather, which means that the father don't have him. Who knows who the father is? The grandfather, we don't even know if he's alive. The great-grandfather is taking care of this boy that pulled out a gun and shot a teacher when they was off of the playground. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. I just don't even know how to put this in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, a 6-year-old. What? And I mean, this principal, like this assistant principal, I mean, it just sounds like her life is completely over 100%.